Hey there, nurses. Let's talk due process. Oftentimes, we don't think that as nurses that those kind of things affect us and or our practice, and that is so very far from the truth. And by the time that someone figures that out, it's oftentimes too late. Hey there, I'm Advocate Maggie. I've been a nurse for 25 years this month of May 2025. Critical care, ICU, ER, pre-op, PACU, endo, IR, cath lab, structural heart, EP. I spent many years in a hospital setting, surgery center, travel nurse, agency nurse, and my time at the Board of Nursing was very eye-opening, folks. And if you don't think that due process affects us, I am here to tell you again, that is so far removed from the truth. Because if you're reported to a Board of Nursing, you're going to want due process. And here's why. Most nurses think due process, that's for criminals, right? No. What is due process? Let's talk about that, and again, why this is important. Under the Fifth Amendment, which is federal, it says that no person shall be deprived of, and I'm going to quote, life, liberty, or property without due process. The 14th Amendment, which applies to state governments and the boards of nursing or the regulatory agencies, goes on to say that nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process. So what does that mean? The government, including your state board of nursing, should not be able to take away your nursing license, freedom, or reputation without giving you fair legal procedures first. And I promise you, and if you've seen some of these videos that I stitched of the nurses that, in my opinion, and I was within an agency, are not being extended due process, you're going to want your due process rights. You're going to want to know, for example, let's talk about what that means. Your nursing license is your property, or is it? It's actually owned by the Board of Nursing, right? You own your education. You own for myself, I own my master's degree in nursing education, but do I own my nursing license? Is that actually my property under the law, or is it that entity's property? And under that, when you are reported to a Board of Nursing and you're trying to defend your professional practice under due process, you should be able to, and I'm just going to read some of the due process clauses that I've written up, I don't know, about a decade ago, because I had concerns that we weren't being extended due process. So under due process, it should be your right to be notified of the complaint or investigation. You should be given a chance to respond. You should be given access to the evidence. And folks, that's where most of my concern is at. When you're not being given your full and complete file and you're asking to respond to allegations or a complaint that more likely than not was, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't know about you, but I slept since then. Representation by an attorney, to request a hearing, to defend yourself. And you want the decision to be made in a fair and just manner and based on evidence and law and nursing standards of care in a just manner, ideally taking in just culture. North Carolina is one of the only boards that I know of today, and please chime in, that has just culture written into the language of the investigative process. Don't you want that? Don't you want due process? If you're in an investigation by your regulatory agency, see, due process affects all of us. The Constitution is supposed to protect all of us. And nurses think, I can't get political. I don't need to know the law. I don't need to. Yes, you do. I promise you. Please, the hundreds of nurses that I have helped, any lawyer, anyone involved in the legal realm who absolutely knows that when you hold a professional license, and quite honestly, it doesn't matter what it is, you are involved innately in politics and legislation, because what happens there does affect us, and we want the laws, the rules, the regulations to be developed to help protect us, including that when we want due process, at minimum, we should be able to see the evidence that's being used against us before we give a written response to allegations that are being made. So hopefully that helps to explain a little bit why due process is so very important when you hold a professional license, because in the event that something happens and you do get reported to a board of nursing and you're standing there, I promise you, you're going to want due process. Make sure you check out my resources on my website, Advocates for Nurses, FOR4.com. I have charting courses, charting to protect your professional license for a CE, as well as charting to protect your professional license, surgical, for the surgical area, addressing skip measures. And if you're in that area, you already know what skip is. I don't need to tell you. There's also free resources on my website that you can download. Their podcast that I've been a guest on. So very honored. I've heard other nurses say, I heard you on this podcast and it changed my practice, or they found a resource that was really helpful to them. So I hope that's helpful. Share, like, and stay safe out there, nurses. Due process is your right, even as a nurse. Advocate Maggie, knowledge is power.